today I'd like to talk about building a firm with vision. And what I'm going to do is really talk a little bit about my story and how I did that with my previous firm, and then how that translated into our effort today, which is Tradovate. It really feels like yesterday when I was sitting in your shoes, but that was nearly 30 years ago. And really through the combination of good luck and calculated risk-taking, we were able to build a very successful online futures brokerage firm. And my message to you today is there was no magic to that. It was a lot of hard work, and it was a lot of calculated risk. But the speakers here today and our successes and what we've done in our careers, my message is we are no different than you are. And in fact, I'm going to talk a little bit about the unique advantage that you have bringing an unjaded kind of perspective to the industry. One thing I would like to say is that life gets complicated, and there's no greater time to take risks than right now, where you are in life now. Marriage happens, family happens, children, elderly parents, sicknesses, you name it. I could go on and on. There's always going to be something that comes up. Now, at the beginning of your careers, there's not a lot to lose. This is the chance to press the gas and say, let's go. I've got an idea. Don't be afraid to fail. Let's do this. So today I want to talk about really three concepts that really kind of shaped, I'll say, my story and my life. And one was motivation and vision. Really has no age limit. We touched on that a little bit. Know yourself and dream big. Don't be afraid to dream big. And calculated risks equal outsized rewards. So let's first talk about a little bit about motivation has no age limit. You don't need 20 years in an industry to have vision. Some of the best ideas come from a unique vantage point. And your vantage point comes largely right now, it's not jaded. You don't know how futures technology may be used. You may look at it from a fresh alternative. And that's very valuable to firms like Tradovate. That's very valuable to firms like some of the other speakers. And what I would say is that you use technology very differently than I do. So the way you use apps, the way you use your phone, the way you use your tablet, the way you interact with the internet or in peer groups, or it's very different. And there's value in that to employers. So just because you don't or haven't been in the futures industry for a period of time, don't think that there isn't value in that vantage point. And so what I like to do is use that as a jumping off point to talk about how I saw an opportunity and how that led to the firm that I started, Open eCry, in 2002. So let's go way back, and I graduated in the spring of 1988, and I've always loved trading. Why? I have no idea. It's innate. And so, everyone has talked about, or other speakers have talked about the stock market crash in 1987. And as an intern at E.F. Hutton, I got to see that firsthand. And it was fascinating. I didn't care. I didn't have any money to lose. It didn't matter to me. But what I saw was wealth being really kind of evaporated and go away. But more importantly, what I saw was wealth being created. And I was like, man, this is awesome. I mean, this is what I want to do. But unfortunately, because of the crash, there were no jobs. There were no entry-level jobs. I could not find a job. And I did extremely well in college, but there just wasn't any jobs. So what I did is I went to work at Ross Pro's EDS in Dallas, Texas. Got to travel the world, lived in London, Herndon, Virginia, Atlanta, Dallas, Texas. But it wasn't my passion. It wasn't my dream. It wasn't what I loved doing. So in 1994, right about the start of the internet kind of craze, I left EDS, and that was an extremely great job that I had in a management development program, and I left it for an eat what you can kill broker's job. No salary, no benefits, nothing. It was, if you produce, you produce, and if you don't, you don't. But that was the risk that I took. And so to kind of fast forward, I stayed there for 2 years, and in 1996 I started my first business. It was an introducing broker, and that introducing broker was a 12 by 12 office out of my house. I had 10 phone lines that came into my house. I had the four big monitors. It was so hot in there, I'd have to sit in shorts all day because it was sweltering because of these monitors, and I had a gigantic satellite on my roof. But the reason I tell you this is what happened to me was I was a phone broker, and my customers would call me, I would call the floor would call me back, I would call my customer, and I'd give them the fill. And something as simple as my clearing firm gave me a piece of software that said customer could call me, I could enter in the trade, it would go to the floor, it would come back on my terminal, and I could give the customer the fill. Holy smokes. That was it. That was it. That's all it took. It was amazing. Now I didn't have 4 phone calls. And I said, okay, instead of having 200 customers out of my 12 by 12 office, this is going to enable me to have 200 or 2,000 or 20,000. If I can build technology like this with a great customer experience, then I can distribute that software to traders. And so basically, that's what we did. And I'm going to kind of fast forward. We launched the company in 2002. We had a partner. In 2005, our partner was sold to Lehman Brothers. Holy smokes. From an idea of sitting in a 12 by 12 office where our partner, which was the same software, it was just white labeled, was sold to one of the biggest banks in the world. What that did was it gave us tremendous confidence. Like, okay, we weren't just, a bunch of hillbillies in Ohio that didn't know what we were doing. We could design software. And so what happened was, because Lehman was buying this, we had to get off of the software by the end of the year in 2005. So we had a partner, and we made the deal. We believed in ourselves, and we said, okay, we'll get off the software, you sell your business to Lehman, but we're not precluded from doing it again. And in 2005, from March till the end of the year, we rebuilt everything from scratch, but this time we owned it all. Tremendous growth, owning the customer experience, and in 2008, we were acquired by a company called Options Express, and today that business still exists. It's over $200 million in customer assets. And so why do I tell you all this? Really, the whole message to that is vision has no age limit. Trust your instincts, follow your dreams, and follow your vision. And now is the time to go for it. It doesn't matter where you are in the life cycle. Kind of the next point I want to make is know yourself and dream big. You might be sitting here over the last couple of days and saying, how does this pertain to me? Why me? What am I going to do? I'm just coming out of this internship. I'm going back to school, or I'm going to go into a job. How is this for me? And I would say, you know your strength. I don't know your strength. You know what it is. So follow that in your heart of hearts, what that strength is. And that's where you should focus your efforts, because you know what that strength is. And so to kind of complete my journey, after we sold to Options Express was acquired by Charles Schwab, and then the company was divested. And to make a long story short, after 20 years in the business, it became a job. It was work. From being the first guy in the office to the last one leaving, I became really disengaged. It was no longer fun. And so another part of my message is you have to have fun. You really, it's got to be something that you enjoy. It's got to be a passion. And so that's what we're doing. In 2013, I left. I took a year to really reflect and say, what is it that I'm meant to do? And I can mow the yard for 3 days out of the week, but that's not who I am. And I love to build. I love to create. I like to take nothing and build a team of really talented individuals and create something that will live. And during that year off, people would say, look, you're so unhappy. Well, why is that? It was because I wasn't doing what I loved, and it was pretty clear what I loved was building futures technology. There's one other quick point that I want to make, and a couple other speakers touched on this, is calculated risk equals outsized returns. And really what I mean by that is I approach every business decision like a trade. What's the worst thing that can happen? So in your life right now, what's the worst thing that can happen if you take a risk? You got to answer that. If you can live with that outcome, then everything else is positive. If you can eliminate downside risk by managing those outcomes, by definition, you're kind of left with positive. So real quick, being young is a gift. Sounds funny, but being young really is a gift. Use this to your benefit. Access your unique skill set and know yourself. Trust yourself. Know what that is, what that skill set is. And then really find the right opportunity and dream really big. It's okay to dream. It's okay to fail. But dream really big. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today. You have a fantastic opportunity ahead of you. Certainly we would love to see it in this industry. I'd love to tell you more about Tradovate. If you see me after, I'll tell you really all the cool, innovative things that we're doing when we launch here very shortly. And I just thank you for this opportunity.